I bumped into Alex at the coffee shop down by Main Street, the kind of place where you'd run into everyone and anyone from your past. It was weird, seeing him there, like stepping into a time machine and popping out back in our college days. "Hey, long time no see," he greeted, all smiles and casual charm. John, my husband, thought nothing of it, just a friendly catch-up over coffee. Lately, I've been glued to my phone, texting back and forth with Alex. It's harmless, really, just two old friends reconnecting. John's noticed, I can tell. He's seen me smiling more at my phone, heard me laugh out loud at texts. But he's not the type to pry, he trusts me. Work's been crazy too. I've been staying late at the marketing firm, buried under piles of projects. It's just how it is in this industry, always one more thing to do. John's been amazing, taking over bedtime routines with the kids, no complaints. I feel guilty, but grateful. Then there was that hotel receipt. John found it in my purse by accident. It was for a work thing, I explained, a conference that ran late. He believed me, or at least, he didn't question it further. I could tell he was trying to piece things together, but he let it go. Things have shifted between us, though. I've become more distant, caught up in my own world. John's caught me, more than once, smiling at my phone when Alex's name pops up. I see the worry in his eyes, the way he tries to hide it. It's like he knows something's off but can't quite put his finger on it. One night, John followed me. He saw me entering the hotel, the very one from the receipt. I didn't know at the time, but later, he told me how his heart sank, seeing me walk through those doors. It was a punch to the gut, the reality of his suspicions laid bare. He confronted me about it, the hotel visit. I couldn't lie to his face, not really. So, I admitted to seeing Alex, but insisted we were just friends. That's the truth, or at least, part of it. John looked at me, hurt and confusion warring in his eyes. Just friends, he repeated, but the trust we had, it felt like it was hanging by a thread. Each conversation, each action, felt like tiptoeing around a minefield. We were both pretending, in a way, clinging to the remnants of a trust that was slowly unraveling. It's not like I planned any of this. Life just happens, and suddenly you find yourself in a place you never thought you'd be, making choices you never imagined you'd make. My absences became a regular thing, and Alex's name started to slip into our conversations more often than I'd like to admit. Alex thinks this. Alex says that. I'd start, and each time, I could see John's face fall a bit more. It wasn't intentional, but there it was, the comparison hanging between us like some uninvited guest. One evening, while I thought John was out, I whispered into the phone, "I love you," to Alex, not realizing John had come back early. He overheard everything. He didn't confront me, didn't say a word, but the air shifted in our home, heavy with unspoken heartbreak. I began talking about needing space, about how I felt trapped. "I just need a bit of independence, you know?" I'd say, trying to justify my feelings, making it sound like a quest for self-discovery rather than what it really was, a drift away from John and our life together. Then, John found it, the hidden folder on our family computer. Photos of Alex and me, moments captured in digital secrecy. He confronted me, his voice barely a whisper. "What is this?" The hurt in his eyes was something I couldn't bear to face. I had no defense, only shallow excuses. One weekend, I told John the first was going away with the girls, a small getaway. But as fate would have it, John saw Alex's car parked at the train station. The pieces of my carefully constructed lies were crumbling, and there was no hiding from the truth any longer. John started to piece everything together, gathering evidence of my affair with Alex. Texts, emails, the photos, each discovery a stab to his heart. I knew he was hurting, but I was too caught up in my own whirlwind of emotions to stop. My nights away from home became more frequent, more bold. I was living a double life, and John was left to pick up the pieces, to explain to our kids why Mommy wasn't home. "Mommy's just really busy with work," he'd say, but the confusion and hurt in their eyes were clear. Each action, each decision I made, took me further down this path of self-destruction, alienating me from the family I once held dear. The gap between John and me widened, filled with secrets and lies, and I couldn't see a way back from the precipice I was teetering on. The day John confronted Alex at his workplace was a turning point. I heard about it from Alex, who was fuming. "Your husband showed up at my office today, demanding I stay away from you." "Can you believe that?" he scoffed over the phone. Alex's dismissiveness towards John, saying it was over between him and his wife, stung more than I expected. It was real now, painfully real. I remember sitting John down, the heaviness in my heart making my words feel like lead. I think we need a separation, I mumbled, avoiding his gaze. I've found someone who understands me better. The look of devastation on John's face haunts me. He was shattered, but in his gentle way, he agreed, clinging to a sliver of hope that this was just a phase. Moving in with Alex felt like stepping into a new world, one where I was constantly reminded of my choices. Seeing my happiness plastered over social media, knowing John would see it, made me feel guilty. Yet, there was this part of me that felt validated, seen in ways I hadn't felt in years. But that validation came at a cost I wasn't fully prepared to pay. John, in the meantime, was doing his best to maintain normalcy for our kids, his struggle with grief and anger hidden behind a facade of stability. The depth of his pain, the sense of abandonment he felt, was something I only understood in fragments, catching glimpses of his life without me. My visits to see the kids became less frequent, a fact that pained me more than I cared to admit. When John found out I was expecting a child with Alex, the betrayal he felt added another layer to the already complicated mess we were in. Despite everything, John focused on the kids, putting his pain aside to be there for them in ways I couldn't. But as my new life with Alex unfolded, doubts began to creep in. Alex's involvement, or lack thereof, especially with the pregnancy, was a stark contrast to the partnership I had with John. The reality of my decisions began to weigh heavily on me. Through the grapevine, I heard about the problems Alex and I were facing. John, hearing the same, felt a mix of vindication and sorrow. It was a bittersweet realization for both of us, a reflection of the choices made and the paths taken. This chapter of my life, filled with change and consequence, was shaping up to be one of the most challenging. My decisions, once made in the pursuit of happiness, now echoed with the reality of their impact, leaving me to navigate the aftermath of a life altered by choice. Lately, I've been reaching out to John more than I ever thought I would. Each call, a mix of seeking advice and comfort as things with Alex started to crumble. "Hey, it's me," I'd start, the familiarity of his voice a balm to my frayed nerves. John, ever the rock, listened without judgment, his words a steady anchor in the chaos of my making. Then, I saw Alex with someone else. My heart dropped, not because I was surprised, but because it confirmed my worst fears about the choices I'd made. I confronted him, my voice shaking with anger and betrayal. "I thought we were exclusive," I spat out, only for him to shrug, saying, "I never wanted to be tied down to one person. That wasn't what I signed up for, not by a long shot." Sitting alone that night, the realization hit me hard. I missed the stability, the love, the life I had with John. Everything I'd left behind for what? A fleeting passion that left me emptier than before. I was caught in a life I no longer wanted, a life that felt more like a prison than the freedom I'd sought. Taking a deep breath, I dialed John's number once more. "Can we meet? I need to talk to you about our future," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. There was a long pause, and for a moment, I thought he'd hang up. But then, "Okay," he replied, his voice laced with a mix of hope and caution. We met at a quiet park, a place that once held memories of happier times. I looked into John's eyes, those familiar eyes, and the words just poured out. "I made a mistake," I confessed. "I miss you. I miss our family. I want to come back." John listened, his expression unreadable, torn between the hurt of the past and the possibility of a future. He shared how the kids had been coping, the toll my actions had taken on them. It was a wake-up call, hearing how my selfishness had impacted the most innocent ones among us. John was considering reconciliation, not for us, but for them, for the family we once were. The decision to end things with Alex was surprisingly easy after that. Moving back in with my parents, I felt a sense of relief, like I could finally breathe again. It was the first step in a long journey of redemption, of trying to win back the trust and love of John and our children. Each day, I'm committed to showing John and the kids that I'm here, that I'm not the person I became when I was with Alex. It's a slow process, rebuilding what was broken, but I'm here for it, every step of the way. Ever since we started counseling, the air between John and me has been thick with the effort of rebuilding trust. It's like walking on a tightrope, with each step measured and cautious. "It's hard," John admitted after one session, his voice laced with a weariness that tugged at my heart. "It's hard to forget. Reconnecting with the kids has been a roller coaster. I see the hesitation in their eyes, the guarded way they approach me now. Mom? My eldest's voice carries a mix of hope and uncertainty, a reflection of our fractured relationship. Their cautious acceptance slices through me, a constant reminder of the consequences of my actions. John's struggle is palpable, a silent storm raging beneath his calm exterior. I want to forgive, he confessed one night, his voice barely a whisper, but it's like there's this shadow, always there. The weight of his words hung between us, a testament to the depth of his pain. The birth of Alex's child was a turning point, fraught with complex emotions. John was there, his support unwavering, yet I could see the cost in his eyes. The baby, innocent and unaware, became a symbol of my betrayal, a living reminder of the pain I caused. Home life turned into a careful dance around each other's feelings. John made efforts to bond with the baby, his actions speaking volumes of his character. Yet, the tension was undeniable, a silent undercurrent that colored our every interaction. Then, John found the texts between Alex and me. What is this? His voice was calm, but the hurt was evident, a fresh wound on top of barely healed scars. I scrambled for words, trying to explain that it was just closure, nothing more. But the damage was done, another crack in the fragile foundation we were trying to rebuild. I'm only in contact with him for the baby's psyche, I insisted, desperate for John to understand. He looked at me, a myriad of emotions flickering in his gaze before he nodded slowly. Okay, he said, the word heavy with unspoken conditions. His willingness to believe me, to give me another chance, filled me with a mix of gratitude and unworthiness. Despite the setbacks, we found moments of genuine connection, glimpses of what we used to be. Laughter began to fill our home again, tentative at first, but growing stronger. I missed this, John said during one of those moments, a smile touching his lips. It was a statement filled with hope, a recognition of the progress we were making. Our journey of reconciliation was far from easy, marked by setbacks and challenges. Yet, with each small victory, the possibility of a future together seemed less like a distant dream and more like a reality we were slowly, but surely, building towards. When John told me about the job offer in another city, it felt like the universe was playing a cruel joke on us. It's a fresh start, a way to leave everything behind, he said, hope flickering in his eyes. But to me, it felt like running away, abandoning the painstaking progress we'd made. I was torn, scared that moving would mean losing the fragile connections I was struggling to rebuild with our family. After nights of restless discussions, we made the hard choice to stay. John turned down the opportunity, choosing us over a career move. Our family's unity is more important, he declared, but the weight of his sacrifice hung heavily between us. Counseling sessions dug up more than I was ready to face. John's pain was deeper than I realized, a chasm that seemed to widen with every attempt to bridge it. I just don't know how to let it go, he admitted one session, his voice breaking, laying bare the extent of his hurt. For our anniversary, I planned something special, a gesture to show John how much I was committed to us. Surrounded by friends and family, I redeclared my love and dedication to him and our kids. It was my way of saying, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere. John was touched, but I could see the conflict in his eyes. It's beautiful, but it doesn't change the past, he told me later. His words stung, a reminder of the long road ahead. Finding a job was my next step towards rebuilding. Contributing financially felt empowering, like I was finally moving forward. I'm proud of you, John said, and I believed him. It felt like a small win in our long journey. We planned a family vacation, hoping to create new memories, a respite from our troubled past. The trip had moments of laughter and warmth, glimpses of what we used to be. But the shadows of my betrayal lingered, tainting our attempts at normalcy. John's realization hit hard during the trip. I can forgive, but forgetting seems impossible, he confessed one night. The affair, though in the past, was a constant, uninvited guest in our relationship. Feeling John's struggle, I proposed renewing our vows. Let's start anew, for real this time, I suggested, hoping it would offer us both the closure we desperately needed. The ceremony was beautiful, a testament to our resilience. Yet, I sensed John's heart wasn't fully in it. It was for me, a chance to make amends, but for him, it was a reminder of the pain. Reflecting on our journey, John acknowledged the distance we'd come but also the change in us. I love you, and our family means everything to me, he said, but I mourn what we lost, the innocence and trust. His words echoed my own feelings, A bittersweet realization that while we were together, the cracks would always remain, a testament to our history and the lessons we learned the hard way.